Hello, beautiful world. Welcome to episode 10 of Outrageously Evolving with Lara Green and
I'm sorry, going episode 10 already. Good Lord.
yeah, episode 10. And we've already surpassed 2,900 views on our first 10 podcasts, which to me is wonderful. I think that's amazing. And it's across 7 platforms. So I'm really pleased with how
I'm
it's
looking for
going.
29,000 upwards.
Yes, 100,000, why not? And more. So, on this episode, we want to talk about what we're calling going for greatness. And when we talk about greatness, we're not talking about fame and fortune necessarily.
Unfortunately.
We're talking about legacy, making a whopping, huge, fulfilling difference in your life to the world or to people or to, whatever, oceans, animals, forests, whatever your greatest contribution is. And I would say even more than just that, for us, going for greatness has been sort of like saying yes to the greater game of evolution, evolving the world, evolving ourselves, evolving all life, intelligence, sourcing breakthroughs for the planet. That for me and for us, I think it's taken shape like that. How about for you?
I think people will have different criteria for how they measure greatness.
Mm.
It can be an abstract concept, really, to talk about. And so you might then look to familiar figures, celebrities, politicians, somebody in the news who you might say epitomizes that for you. But we're not talking really about that type of greatness,
Yeah.
or about public figures
No.
and people in authority.
Yeah.
Um, I've just had a look at a book that I wrote, which took me 9 years to write, called The Way of Dragons. And I'd actually put in the foreword of it, I said, at its heart, this is a tale of greatness, the desire to embrace one's magical nature and dedicate oneself to live with undying passion in an age of greatness.
Yeah.
So it's what you believe to be true about the way in which you live your life and the values with which you um, uphold in everything that you are and in everything that you do and everything that you believe in. This idea about greatness isn't some sort of airy fairy thing that we
No.
might talk about.
Yeah.
It is something which you feel very strongly passionate about and which you dedicate, I would say, your life to in some sort of awe-inspiring way that you may not know what it is that you're dedicating,
Yeah.
that you may not know how it's going to look. But when I was writing this book, I wanted to write something fantastic and to leave a legacy in the field of writing. And
Yes.
I feel that I achieved that. And I feel that the way that I wrote that book um, was all the time keeping me in a particular level of love for life. Let's put it that way, of love for something which is more than a love for a person, more than a love for an object. It is a love for the whole essence of life itself. And I think by that standard, then I've written something beautiful, wonderful, and monumental. And I think when we're talking about greatness, it is something which is in you already, not something that you're looking to embody, not something that you're looking as a role model to follow, but something which tells you this is an age of greatness. And
Yes.
maybe there have been other ages of greatness, but until you actually measure yourself to this mark, you would not know that.
Yeah.
You would not believe that this is a golden age. You think that there's lots of problems in the world, that there's strife and that there's war and that there's all these discords. And yet at the same time, there is something which is harmonious in us that says you don't need to bother about all those things.
Yeah.
The greatness that you embody is keeping true to yourself all the time and to seek to find that and understand that that is what's in other people as well.
Yes.
And so, therefore, we're living in this most amazing time because we feel that there is something which is in us which wants us to know that
Yeah.
and know that to be true.
And it's so far beyond anything personal. It's not, for me, it's been a journey beyond the self, beyond the personal. And it's like saying, for me, it was saying yes to the universe, saying yes to the great grand evolutionary game about being able to do things that are beyond our known understanding. And it's not, like I said, it's not about being known or being famous. It's about being fulfilled completely. It was something in yourself that yearns for, I almost want to say, to be a hero. but
Ooh.
but a hero in the sense it didn't matter if anybody ever knew that you were. Do you know what I mean? And it's lovely if they do, but it's not about that. It's not about the self in any way, shape, or form. It's about the fulfillment of something that we were designed for, something that's going on so much larger than ourselves, that to be a part of it, and I would say to be a part of it collectively, collaboratively, is one of the most exciting things that I think anybody could do.
Hmm. I think what we're also saying is that you've got to drop with this idea of identity, that you are a person who's living a life
Yeah.
and it looks in a particular way. And when I was writing this book, I was in some respects casting far and wide about what other beings in the universe might know about us, might want to know about us, how they might perceive us, how they might relate to us and communicate with us. So I'm looking at myself not just as a human self, a human entity, but someone who has a universal understanding of life, who is perhaps looking for something bigger and greater and more expansive
Mhm.
than anything that people might talk about their lives in this world at this present time.
Yeah.
That's why I say in the age of greatness, you almost like have to drop away all your ideas of time and space and of being in physical form. That there is something about yourself which really knows that there's an uncontainable essence of creation that is far and wide and wants to bring something of that magnitude and magnificence to every single aspect of every single part of life in anywhere, in any planet, in any life form.
Yeah.
It's like there's a great knowingness and an intelligence and a sense of wonder all combined together
Yeah.
that says you're creating this story about life, and it doesn't have to be in a particular way contained in particular sets of circumstances that you're trying to make your way through. It is something magnificent that is being born in you with every passing moment, and that you can write about that, that you can talk about that, that you can communicate the sense of what that is
Yeah.
to others by talking about it in this inspiring way of greatness.
Yeah.
So greatness is saying, boom,
Yes.
you're the whole of the universe.
Yeah.
What does the universe want to know? What if the universe can tell you, me, us? Can we find any boundaries to any of it?
Yeah.
And the answer is you don't want to find boundaries. You don't
No.
want to create boundaries. You don't want to live within boundaries.
Yeah.
You want to be uncontainable.
Yeah.
And in that sense, we are the uncontainable.
Yeah.
Speaking of greatness.
You want to be able, excuse me, you want to be able to live epically. And for me, I didn't want to just live a good life. or do nice things or be successful in the normal way of things. I wanted to live legendary, to live epically, and to be doing things that were so off the charts, so unprecedented that they altered life for everyone everywhere. And I feel like you and I together are achieving that, as well as others that we know as well, that we get to co-create with and play with. And I would say, if I was going to say to people, how do you get on that adventure? How do you become limitless, become epic, create unprecedentedly? Well, first of all, you talked about letting go of identity. So for me, I kind of wasn't interested in myself anymore. It's like I was more interested in this greater game that's afoot, this greater evolution of us that's happening, the greater possibility of us that's coming onto the horizon of us all, that we are co-sourcing and co-creating. So I would say it's letting go of identity and saying yes to something greater. And then I would say it's perceive yourself as having no limits. Don't think of yourself as how you've always known yourself. I was talking in a webinar series the other day that I was hosting about letting go of the known self, because the known self is defined. And I think when you go into the game of greatness, you want to be, use your term, limitless. You want to be a free-flowing creation of new possibilities of yourself, of the world, of life, of others, of animals, oceans, natures, forests, stars, universe, all of it. You want to begin to discover what it's like to live limitlessly and to create limitlessly. And what does that look like? And I think if we backtracked maybe, 10, 15, even 20 years, to live like that at the time, people looked at it quite weirdly, even though there was lots of us going for it anyways. But it wasn't, I think people are more curious today, more accepting today, more open, and even I would say more super conscious because of all the work that we and many others around the world have done about having us become more super conscious and more open and curious and understanding of these greater things. And then I guess the next step would be finding out what's your contribution to that. Your unique essence will tell you where you'll find your place to play and your way to contribute. And then it's getting up to that in very innovative, exciting, fabulously fun ways, including collaborating with others all around the world to make something spectacular happen. And that's very different for me than being a visionary with a project and like trying to get it to happen in the world. This is more being in a free flowing genius flow in a playground that's an epic greater game. And then you find where's your contribution, where's your orientation to all of that, and what's the greatest thing that you can possibly contribute to that. Would you add anything to that?
Yes, I found a nice piece in the book, which I'm going to read to you.
Okay.
When I first started writing this book back in 2011, I had no idea what I was going to be writing about. But in a sense, I've been writing about greatness. So here it is. I will invoke greatness in people. They will be engrossed and mesmerized by the epic nature of the story that they are reading. And yes, it will take them unawares to a place of magic and wonder, and that place will become their waking reality. They will be emboldened by thoughts of what they, in turn, can achieve, will achieve. The clues for that narrative will already be inside them. I am getting the bigger picture of this even as I write these notes in my journal. The true epic story is not a tale about any one person. It is a story written for those who cherish greatness in themselves. It has them realize that they are divine and embarked on a heroic odyssey that is as yet unfinished and maybe will never be finished.
Beautiful. Yes, absolutely.
We are on an odyssey.
Oh, I love that. Yes, we are. And a lot of people might think that to step up to greatness or legacy or epic game creation, um, they might think, whoa, that's too big, or that's too hard, or whatnot, but it's not. It, I think that you and I have found that in the delightful surrender into greatness, that greatness then partners you, befriends you, and brings you the most awesome ideas, opportunities, abundance, people, playgrounds, just all of it, writings for us. And it's just so joyfully delightful to play in that game. And I think the other thing I would say is that for a lot of people, as we extend the invitation for them to find their place in the game of greatness, is that they might have the thoughts, who me? Do I have what it takes? Am I good enough for that? Et cetera, et cetera. And I would say to all those thoughts, phooey, like throw them away. They're irrelevant thoughts. They got nothing to do with the game of greatness. We all have a part to play. We are all capable of contributing what is ours to contribute to that game. And the more of us that do, the more glorious and easy and beautiful it becomes.
And to which I would add, don't try. Do not try at all. If you
Is,
start to try to make things happen, to try to sit down and plan things out, you would end up in a different place entirely.
yeah,
When I wrote the book, I had no idea what I was going to be writing about. And yet the book wrote through me.
yes,
The book wrote me as well as writing itself.
yes,
And I feel emboldened by what have written. And I feel that there is this sense of greatness then, which just lingers in me and is there constantly all the time. And this greatness isn't a personal thing either. It is, I say, something which exists everywhere in everyone at the same time.
yeah,
So you don't even have to search for it.
yeah.
You just need to let it speak for itself.
Beautifully said. I thought you were going to quote Yoda there when you said, don't try.
Try not so hard.
There you go. So, yes, I think the only last thing I would say about it is that when you say yes to greatness, or you say yes to the universe, or yes to whatever it is that is yours to say yes to, you get to ride a grand wave, and it takes you to phenomenal places and gives you a incredibly glorious life. And I think for me, for sure, I think you'd say the same, but we'll see when I am completely, utterly, totally fulfilled in this lifetime. And there is so much more to come. I absolutely love life and am thrilled to the hilt to be able to live in this lifetime now, in this epic time. How about for you?
I would say that by some people's standards, I have lived many lifetimes in this lifetime.
Yes, that's true. Yeah,
You can only find that out for yourself just by the experience.
that's true. Yeah. So, with that, we invite you to step into your greatness. And if you, everybody listening, if you just want to just take a minute, close your eyes, take a deep breath, think of something you love, just to let it like lift you up, and then see if you're ready to say yes to greatness. And even if you've said yes before, maybe shout it a little louder this time.
Hallelujah.
And join in this amazingly epic time where we are quantum leaping like never before, I don't think, in any of human history, anyways, and perhaps ever anywhere, that we are growing like this, evolving like this. It's amazing. So I think that's it for us for this one. Thanks for listening and watching, and have a wonderful time contributing what is yours to contribute to the great epic game of greatness.
May
Thanks for
the
listening.
greatness be with you.
Bye.